This is Favors Financial Topics, various topics. So, reflections of romantic hastiness. One of the most important reflection that I realize for myself and as well as for people just in general and just listening to their general conversation is that jumping into a relationship before they're ready or before you are ready. Uh, I believe that if we think about our personal finances and how making a decision to jump into a relationship is going to affect our personal finances, I'm not quite sure we would do it. You always have men who discuss this idea that, I spent $100 on this date, right? And then you also have those same men who say they have a dating roster, a dating rotation. Well, if you're spending hundreds of dollars on dates and things like that, where's that money coming from? Because you can't mess with your base, your principles, right? Your principle. And so, are you working extra hours to support your dating goals, right? And so, and then if you are just actively dating and spending money, I mean, you're not only spending money for your shelter costs, but you are spending money to go to the club and to get new clothes and dresses and things like that or whatever. And so, jumping into a relationship before you're ready in this particular regard is oftentimes jumping in with 2 feet, going full fast, um, shedding the shackles. We're just going to make it as we go, work it out as we go. When as an adult, you need to have a good financial plan before you get into a relationship. Having sex before you're ready is always a standard, is always, well, it's the standard now. It used to be the exception to the rule, but now it is the rule. And so that's something that you have to factor in, because once you enter the realm of sexual relations, you start acting like you are a couple. And a lot of times you start acting like a married couple. So then you begin merging your finances. It's not always strategic, it's just something that happens, right? And you might be driving home one day, your partner driving you home, and then all of a sudden he says or she says, "Oh, I forgot my wallet. Can you give me $20?" Right? And if that happens multiple times, you're going to find yourself um, in a deficit somewhere. So if you have the conversation, the opposite of having sex before you're ready is having the conversation. If you have a conversation with someone, they will reveal a lot about what they think and who they are, especially if you just let them talk. That's why you will often hear men say, just let the woman talk. She's going to tell everything. And that's true. Women tell their whole mind, right? They tell all of the issues in their hearts. But once you get into the bedroom arena area, you are less likely to have the most important conversations you need to have as adults. Assuming that the encounter is a relationship, so many times we get into these situationships thinking that they are relationships because one or more partners are treating it like a relationship. It's like a person wants to get all of the benefits of a relationship but not call it a relationship. That's why common law is such a preferred manner for people who don't want to marry, because they can get all of the benefits of a marriage without actually having to take responsibility in marriage. And so that's something that you have to get clear. I just There have been a couple of times in my life that I thought I was in relationship with someone when they were really in relationship with someone else. And so now, as an older individual, I want to make sure that I get a very good understanding about anyone I desire to engage later. Dictating the rules of the relationship before there is consensus. And so the person oftentimes who makes more money often will be the one who does all of the dictating. It's not fair. And I don't think it's right. I think you should come together and have a conversation. And that's the problem. We don't have conversations. We don't have sit down, pen, pad, let's talk this out, because we are told what to do in childhood. And we can't talk back to our parents. So our parents we may have some moments in our childhood development where the parent is maybe expressing something and we're having a little conversation. But parents love to do that because I said so type attitude with us. And so then we have to become acquiescent, and I think that is basically an emotional and psychological setback for us, because we don't get an opportunity to engage and discuss and resolve any problems. We're just told what to do. And so then whatever we learn in our childhood is what we tend to apply in our adulthood. And so if a partner in a relationship is the one who dictates a lot of the rules, it's because they saw that in their own childhood development. They might have seen their mother do it with their father, or their father do it with their mother. And so don't always be offended, but you may have to set some boundaries. Putting money on any problem that presents itself, which means we give too much too early. And that's why we always have to do some sort of financial check. What do we actually have? How is, in terms of personal finances, and how are we using those personal finances to fund our 100% personally responsible sales? That we are not responsible for taking care of somebody else while we are essentially dating. If you decide to marry the individual, you both take responsibility for each other. But in just situationships, pre-dating, singles, any type of relationship like that, you are not responsible for taking care of that person financially. If anything, I think we should sort of shed this idea of chivalry. And when we are merely dating, we should go Dutch, so that you can manage your finances. Or if you sit down and have a good conversation with that person, you say, okay, I'm going to pay for this meal this week, you pay for the meal the next week, or something like that. It sounds like dictating, but it also sounds like one person is not trying to take advantage of another. But we do give too much too early. We give ourselves, we give our bodies, we give our minds, we give our hearts, we give our personal finances, we give our souls. And so, and we assume that the money is going to solve whatever problem, but we haven't really identified the problem. We don't understand what the problem is. Acting more masculine because of an assumption that you must take over the relationship for whatever reason. So I'm speaking to women, that if you want a masculine man, that you can't be masculine yourself, unless you both are gay or part of the LGBTQ community. Other than that, if you want a masculine man, a masculine partner, then you must walk in your feminine. So that means that you don't take over the relationship. You let that masculine person guide the relationship. And there are many books and videos and things like that you can watch to get a really good understanding about how to walk in your feminine. And visit YouTube. I know one channel, Chloe's channel, I tend to watch a lot of times, where she's teaching you how to walk in your feminine. And that's very important, because romantic hastiness always has to take into consideration the decisions you make that are unilateral and not bilateral. And so when you are making masculine moves, those are unilateral decisions. When you are making feminine moves, you are making bilateral decisions. You are quietly letting the man be a man in the relationship, or the masculine person be a masculine person in the relationship. Talking about past relationships and hoping the potential relationship will solve past problems. I don't advocate rebounding. I have a whole series on rebounding, and I don't advocate rebounding. I advocate you rebounding to, when I say I don't advocate rebounding, I mean romantic rebounding, trying to seek a rebound to solve a problem. You know, how many times have I heard someone say the best way to get over someone is to get under someone? That's only going to add more issues to the current issues you are already experiencing. That's just going to procrastinate your learning process and prolong your pain. It is better to rebound to a hobby, rebound to exercise, rebound to writing, rebound maybe to taking a course, rebound to journaling. There are always different types of ways that you can rebound without romantically rebounding. And then saying I love you too early in the encounter is one of those romantic hastiness incidents that we see oftentimes, that, you know, it's hard not to say I love you when you feel it, right? But it does make a big difference when both of you are saying it at the same time, that you both have come to an understanding of it. I believe it's much better for the man to say it first. I hate to say it like that because it sounds kind of sexist, but it does make a big difference when he says it, because then he is framing you, or he's framing the woman for relationship now, that you are no longer encounters or situationship or dating rotation or booty call or friends with benefits, but whatever you were before, or if you weren't any of those things, you are no longer just in the wind, romantic limbo, right? That when he says I love you, the relationship is moving forward. Now, people can say I love you and not mean it too, but then you begin to judge their actions. So these are the reflections of romantic hastiness. All right. Hopefully you were able to gain some insight from this series topic. Like, subscribe, and visit. Like the video, hit the notification bell for future videos. You can visit my website, which is still in development, reginayfavors.com. You can always email me with a question, reginayfavors@yahoo.com. You will be able to purchase the book by the end of October 2021. I'm hoping that I will have it completed, completely revised rather. It is already written and done. I just have to edit it. It is Overcoming Setback, 5 Keys for Entering and Exiting Correction. Thank you for visiting the channel. Coming soon is my new book that I am working on presently and hope to complete by the end of the year, December 2021, preferably February 2022, and that is Favors, Financial Recovery, Psychological Approaches to Overcoming Financial Setback with some workbook elements. So it is the it will be the book that will support the audio series, although I have developed the audio series prior to actually writing the book. So be on the lookout for this new book. When it comes out, when I finish, I will create an audio introduction to the book. Thank you again for visiting the channel.